So what if the smartest leaders, the ones who thrive in chaos, make very clean decisions, especially under pressure, and build their companies that last, aren't the ones operating from their egoic minds? What if their real strategic advantage, in fact, comes from operating from their hearts? Now, this isn't a poetic sense, not at all. It's a state that is rooted in ancient yogic science, a measurable mode of awareness that cuts straight through the cognitive noise, dissolves reactivity, and increases clarity. It's called heart-based leadership, and it isn't soft. In fact, it's smarter. So what does heart-based actually mean? Well, in the yogic traditions, heart-based means operating from the heart center known as anahata. This is the seat of your non-reactive intelligence. It's not emotion, it's not sentimentality. It's a grounded, steady state where awareness lives in the center of your chest. From here, perceptions become very accurate instead of distorted by fears, pressures, or egoic narratives. Decisions arise from balanced intuition, logic fused with this quiet inner clarity. You integrate your data, your insights, and your feelings without suppressing any of them. And the result is leadership that's clear, wise, difficult for anybody or anything to destabilize, and it's astonishingly effective. This, let me tell you, is the foundation of heart-based leadership and heart-centered business. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that hustle culture creates massive amounts of blind spots. Hustle culture pushes leaders up into their heads, into tight thinking, overthinking, pressure loops, and adrenaline cycles. And when the urgency like that becomes a lifestyle, an addiction, the ego just becomes incredibly loud. Everything feels like a threat. Everything feels personal, and everything feels like I must act now. And that's when leaders misread situations. They cling to their bad strategies, they avoid the difficult truths, or they communicate defensively. They make decisions to avoid the losses instead of creating additional value. And this is when a business, we all know, stops growing and it starts spiraling. Heart-based leadership interrupts this entire pattern. And when the attention drops into the heart, the noise in the head also drops with it. Reactive cycles dissolve and clarity arises. But let me give you a counterintuitive insight. The heart is a strategic asset. And this is the counterintuitive truth. When we are leading from the heart, it isn't a soft alternative. It is a smarter operating system. When the mind quiets, strategic intelligence increases. When the ego shrinks, your perception sharpens. When the heart opens, you access a broader intelligent field of awareness, higher pattern recognition, deeper intuition, and cleaner judgments. This is why true heart-centered business doesn't fall apart under pressure. In fact, you and it becomes so much stronger. So how do you know which state you are in, an egoic state or a heart-based state? And the question you might ask is, well, are you stuck in the box of the ego? Or are you out of the box into the exponential domain of the heart? And your body tells you instantly whether you're trapped in the ego or you're in the heart, especially if you know where to look. So the ego based in the box, what do we experience or recognize? Well, often a tight chest, shallow breathing, pressure, urgency. We become defensive within our inner and outer dialogue. You become hyper analytical with low clarity and very low coherence. It's me versus them, me versus the rest of the world type of thinking. But when we make the shift into heart-based, we're now outside of the box. We experience space. We have an open chest. Our breathing expands. We steady our energy in a controlled manner. The world around us becomes spacious as we become calm. We find ourselves with clear intuitions, and then we experience this in it together perspective. So one we experience as a contraction, whereas the other is the heart-based expansion. The ego creates blind spots, whereas the other simply dissolves them. This in Sanskrit could be known as a kinesthetic felt svadhyaya, self-study through your body, through your felt senses, because the body, as we know, never ever lies. So why does heart-based leadership absolutely outperform the hustle? Well, when leaders operate from the heart, there's 5 performance multipliers which I'd like to highlight now, which switch on. The first one is your clarity of judgment. No noise, no invisible fears, just clear decisions. The second one is superior adaptability. You can bend without breaking. You see opportunities others miss. You become the most flexible element in the entire business. The next is you gain what I call higher trust capital with investors, with partners, with teams. All trust-based leaders move faster and enjoy more accurate results. Fourthly, clearer communication, direct, calm, factual, non-defensive, and your execution in all areas accelerates. And the 5th thing I'd like to highlight, which might be the most important, is not only does stress dissipate, you reduce burnout completely. Because when the reactivity drops, the energy rises, longevity becomes possible. And this is why I say that heart-based leadership is not a spiritual side quest. It's an advanced form of business intelligence. So how do we make the switch? How do we shift into this heart mode inside of real time? Well, let me give you a few steps. The first thing to learn to do is to anchor yourself within the heart. And we could say, like an anchor, we drop the anchor into the heart, or we drop our focus of attention into the heart center, which is simply said into the center of the chest. When we arrive there, to anchor ourselves deeply, we take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Now, when we feel this shift and feel ourselves within the heart space, we move to step 2, which is our intention. So as you're focused in the heart center, ask yourself, what does my heart want from this situation? A simple yet powerful and beautifully centered question. What does my heart want from this situation? And then notice what arises: clarity, fairness, alignment, and not, and I repeat, not protecting the ego. And in step 3, what we learn is that we need to act. We need to be very active. And we take the next step from the heart state, not the old fear state. This is your inner technology, or your heart-based business in operation. It's simple, it's repeatable, and it is transformative. So what does this look like in real business, in real life? How's it tangible? Well, picture a classic founder. Revenue dips, the runway shortens, a major deal is wobbling. Well, the ego-based leader panics, blames, pressures on the team, makes rash cuts, compromises integrity, and tries to win at any cost. Whereas the heart-based leader feels the hit, recenters themselves, zooms out to gain perspective, communicates clearly within themselves and with the team, makes aligned decisions for the greater good of everyone, and holds for the long game. Same situation, 2 different states, 2 completely different outcomes. So what about practical heart-based business behavior? Inside of a heart-centered business, boundaries are firm without being hostile. Strategy is very clear without the rigidity. Intuition is strong without being impulsive. Communication in this way is clean without ever being cold. Leadership is powerful without the need to be aggressive. You stop driving yourself and the business like a machine, and you begin running the business like a living system. And why does this matter? Let's make a business case. So let's put the spirituality aside and talk metrics. Lower turnover, higher innovation, fewer reactive mistakes, faster alignment inside of yourself and the team, better investor confidence, stronger team resilience. Heart-based leadership creates what every business wants: fewer fires, better decisions, higher trust, and sustainable performance. That's why I believe the next decades belonged to the heart-based leaders. So what's the next step for you? And in fact, what can you look forward to in my future videos? So now that you understand why leading from the heart absolutely outperforms hustle culture, let's zoom out for a moment. This way of thinking, this shift from ego to heart, can transform your business in extraordinary ways. And in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to access the state more accurately and more often, how to drop into the heart center on command, how to recognize when the ego hijacks you, how to build heart intelligence like a muscle, and how to make heart-centered business your default operating system. Because heart-based leadership isn't an idea, it's in fact a practice. And once you, like me, master it, your business, your decisions, your entire life begin to operate on a completely different level. So if you want more clarity, more peace, and more prosperity, then make sure you're liking and subscribing to these videos down below. And the next phase is where everything changes. And if you want more information now, then consider joining me, the Corporate Yogi, at www.school.com/transformation. I look forward to hearing the exceptional results as you begin to deepen your journey into heart-centered business leadership. Thanks for listening.